today we will solve the third problem on scores in exams for students. Let us read first the problem. Scores attained by a student in two exams are to be entered to a computer. That means two scores for exams are going to be recorded into a computer, and both of them are doubles, and both of them between 0 and 100 inclusive. That means 0 and 100 are also included. For the exams, an indication of pass or fail is needed to be printed, and this is what's the output of the program after the two marks are entered. So first we need to enter the 2 marks, and then we will check whether the student has passed or failed according to the marks of these exams. The criteria for passing are as follows. So we have 2 conditions to check whether the student has passed or failed according to these 2 marks. The first criteria, which is the first condition, a student passes if both examinations are passed, where the pass mark for an individual subject is 60. So now we know now what is the mark that indicates a student has passed or not passed, which is 60. So if it is greater than or equal to 60, then pass, otherwise it is failed. So both should be pass so that the student can pass the 2 marks. Additionally, a student pass if only one subject is failed and the overall average is greater than or equal to 60. Now, if both of them are not pass, so we have 3 cases more. Maybe the first exam pass, the second exam is fail. Maybe the first exam is fail, the second exam is pass, or maybe both of them are fail. So for both of them failed, we should reject it, will be fail. But if one of them is pass, then we need to compute the average. Now, according to the average, we are going to decide pass or fail if the average is pass. We will analyze the criteria as follows. According to the 2 criteria, we have the following table. Let us first look at the 2 criteria. The first one says a student passes if both examinations are passed, and this can be represented by the first row. See in the first row, if exam 1 is greater than or equal to 60, exam 2 is greater than or equal to 60, so both pass. And here the average is not needed, so we print pass. Now for the second criteria, it says additionally, بالإضافة, a student may pass if only one subject is failed and the overall average is greater than or equal to 60. And here we need the average. And this is represented by the other 2 cases. If exam 1 pass, exam 2 fail, and the average is pass, then the student pass. And if exam 1 is fail and exam 2 pass, and the average is greater than or equal to 60, we have pass. So when the student fail, we can check for the student fail or not to fail from the beginning. See now, if both of them fail, then we don't need the average. Then the student fail. Why? Because it says criteria 2 that if one of them is fail and the other one is pass, then we check for the average. Now, if both of them fail, there's no need for the average, so it will fail. And we can write it here below, so we can add it. So we can say below that if we have exam 1 less than 60 and exam 2 less than 60 and the average is not needed, then we have fail. Also, if the average for any of these 2 cases, if the average is not pass, then we should change the status into pass. So we can say any other criteria not mentioned in this table, then it will be fail. So how we can write a program that goes over these conditions in sequence? We will do the following. First, we will check for this condition. If it is true, then we will print pass. Else, we will go for the next condition. If both of them less than 60, which both of them are fail, then we will print fail. And in the last else, we will compute the average, because the last else will represent these 2 cases. If not both of them pass, if not both of them fail, then one of them is pass, the other one is fail. So in the last else, we are going to compute the average. And then the average will tell us for pass or fail. So let us go to JGrasp and write the program. This is now our program in Java for the problem. I have already created this file. See the name of the class. It is a slide 8 example 3 and it has the same name of the file. I have put the scanner in the data declaration, and also we need two double values, one for exam1 and the other one for exam2. Now for the input, we will ask the user system.out.println, please enter exam1 and exam2 marks, and we are going to read the 2 marks by one message, which is this message. So we will say that exam1 is equal to n dot next double, and we will have exam2 equal n dot also next double. And now we will come for the process part, and maybe it will be also including output part at the same time. So the two stages will come one after the other. So first we will check, we will say if, for the first case, if exam1 greater than or equal to 60 and exam2 greater than or equal to 60, this represents the first case, so both of them pass. So here we print a message, system.out.println, and we say just pass, passed. Okay. Then we will go for the other exclusive condition, else if, and here we will put if both failed. So we say exam1 less than 60 and exam2 less than 60. And as you notice, now for these two cases, we don't need the average. So I will just simply copy, Control C, and here we will say Control V for paste, and here we will say failed. Now for the last else, the last condition, and here I will write a comment. This is for one exam pass and the other exam failed. So for one exam passed, sorry for the spelling, passed, and the other exam failed. And since we are going to do two things, we need first to compute the average because we will depend on the average. So the first case, which is this one, if both pass, and for the next one, if both fail, and now for the third one, one of them failed, the other one is pass. So we need a bracket here, and the other bracket is here. So I will just remove the comment at the beginning of the block, and then inside the block we will compute the average. So I will define the average inside the block because we will need it only inside, and then it will be exam1 plus exam2, and we divide it by 2, and we have to check for the average. Now if average greater than or equal to 60, then we have the pass situation, and I will copy the command for passing. Otherwise, we will print the message for failed. So why we needed two brackets? Because we need two things to do inside else. One is computing the average. The other one, we need another if else statement inside. So we have two statements, although if and else consist of other two statements, but it is considered as one line. So therefore, we put brackets because we need to execute both of them at once if else is correct. Now we need to test our program, but remember we did not did validation in the beginning. In the beginning, remember that exams should not be negative numbers. We can put validation here, but the question did not ask for validation, so we will leave it for you to do it later. Before we run the program and check for errors, I would like to point out a note here. If you define a variable inside a block, which is this block, then you can only use it inside. You cannot use it outside. Notice now these data types are in the program in main, so it is outside every other block, so you can use them. But if you define a variable inside a block, then you can use it inside. So this is why I'm using average inside the block. But if I try to use it outside, you will get syntax error, and which I will show you in a moment. Let us check for errors. Hopefully there are no errors, and as you notice, we don't have any errors. So we will run the program for testing. So please enter exam 1 and exam 2 marks. So we will give 2 marks for passing. So let's say 70, and let's say we will give 80. So both above 60, so it is passed. Let us run the program again. And now we will give 55, which is less than 60, and 35, which is also less than 60, so it is failed. And again, we will run it. We will give 1 pass and 1 fail. So we will give, let's say, 45, and we will give 60. But if you compute the average here, you will notice that the average is not pass. So the answer will be failed. Now, if I run the program again, and I will give one of them, let's say, fail, and the other one is pass, which is large number, and in this case, the average will be large, and it will be greater than or equal to 60, so it is passed. And you can do this testing for exam 2 and exam 1, changing their numbers, and you will get the same answer. Now let us try to print the value of the average outside the block. See, it is defined inside this block. Let's try to print the average outside the block. System out dot println, and we will say average equal to, and then we will print the value of average. And let's try to run the program, and you will see that you will get an error. See, it says variables average location class inside. What is the error? Cannot find symbol. Why? Because it is defined inside. Now we will just simply take it from outside the block, Control X, and we will display it inside the block. So we will display the average inside the block. Now when you run the program, you will not have any problem because you used it inside the block. And here it says enter. Sorry, I cleared the message. So when I give, for example, 60 and 88 and C passed, and why it is not printing? Yes, it is not printing because we are given 2 pass, so we have to give it 1 pass and 1 fail, so clear. So run it again. Now this is a pass, which is 70, and now this is fail 45, and now see, now it is printing the average because it went inside the last else, and for the previous example I gave it 2 passed values, so this is why I did not print the average.